You aren't just tired from a long week. You are tired from a long century. Your fatigue isn't a lack of sleep. It's the friction of living through a total human migration. You feel older than your age because you are a biological bridge, a rare witness to the great transition. You were born into the era of silence, a time when being away meant you were truly unreachable. There was a definitive border between your private world and the public square, a wall made of distance. But then the world migrated into the light of the screen, and it took your nervous system with it. Now you are forced to manage two contradictory operating systems within a single, overwhelmed brain. One system is analog, built for the slow rhythm of the seasons, for touch, and for tangible presence. The other is digital, a relentless stream of light and data that demands your attention every second. This friction, this constant internal grinding of eras, is what we call chronological exhaustion. You remember when a computer was a destination, a machine you visited and then walked away from. It was a tool, not a constant shadow. It stayed in its room while you lived your life in yours. But today, the machine follows you into your bedroom, your bathroom, and even into your dreams. You have become a 24/7 switchboard, an unpaid operator for everyone's urgent demands and minor crises. Every notification is a micro-invasion of the internal sanctuary you used to take for granted. Your brain is grieving a version of time that no longer exists, a time when hours had edges and depth. The modern world asks you to be infinite, but your biology is built for the finite and the fragile. You feel like a stranger in your own timeline because you still remember what silence feels like. You remember the analog baseline, a quiet mental space where thoughts could breathe before being shared. Now, that space is filled with the static of a wireless world that never stops whispering. You are exhausted because you are performing the impossible task of being a human anchor in a gravityless world. Your body is here in the present, but your soul is still navigating by the stars of the past. We call it burnout, but that is too small a word for this historical fatigue. It is a deep biological protest against a world that has lost its sense of scale and rhythm. No wonder you want to close the door, turn off the lights, and sit in the absolute dark. In the darkness, the digital grid disappears, and for a moment, you are back in the era of silence. You aren't falling behind the times. You are just carrying more history than your peers. This memory is your burden, but it is also your sanctuary if you know how to use it. Take a breath. Let the noise of the long century fade away for just a moment. Welcome back to the architecture of the real. Let us begin the recalibration.
Your memory is not a cloud-based server. It is a biological library, a physical weight that you carry in your bones. Before the world was flattened into a single glowing pane of glass, information had a body, a scent, and a distinct texture. You remember when knowing something meant owning the object that held the truth, a book, a map, or a handwritten letter. There was a proprioceptive memory to your life. Your brain knew where things were because they occupied real space. You could feel the log off in your muscles when you closed a heavy cover or locked a physical door at the end of the day. But digital life has stripped away the edges of your world, turning your infinite experiences into a flat, frictionless surface. Everything you love, everything you fear, and everything you buy now shares the exact same 5 inches of cold, sterile glass. This is what we call semantic flattening, when your brain can no longer distinguish the weight of a tragedy from the noise of an ad. You are exhausted because you are trying to feel a world that has no texture, no resistance, and no place for your hands to rest. Your nervous system is screaming for a physical anchor, a tangible proof that you are still a biological entity in a data-driven sea. You remember the peace of being lost, of being in a place where no satellite was tracking your every micro-movement. Back then, privacy wasn't something you had to set. It was the natural state of being an individual in a vast, unmapped world. Now, the day never truly ends. It just fades into an infinite blue light scroll that follows you into the deepest hours of the night. This is the erosion of the interval, the loss of the quiet spaces between events where your soul used to do its processing. You are the guardian of disconnected time, a sacred treasure that the modern world has forgotten how to value or protect. This memory of the analog world is why you feel like a stranger in your own timeline. You know what's missing, even if you can't name it. You aren't outdated or behind the times. You are a primary source of human presence in a world of digital echoes. Your fatigue is actually a deep mourning for the quality of attention that was stolen from you by the notification and the feed. You are exhausted from defending your inner sanctuary against a noise that has no volume, but occupies all of your mental space. But the fact that you still feel this friction, this longing for the real, is the proof that your soul is still remarkably intact. You are the bridge, and every bridge must be anchored in solid, unmovable ground to survive the storm of the new century. It's okay to be the one who remembers how to just be, without the performance, the metric, or the digital validation. Take a moment now to touch something real, something heavy, something that doesn't have a screen or a battery. Feel the weight of the stone, the texture of the wood, the coldness of the water. This is your recalibration. Your memory of the silence is the compass. Trust it to lead you home to the sanctuary of the finite. Breathe. You are safe here in the quiet space between the eras. The sanctuary is open, and for now, the digital world cannot reach you. Rest your eyes. Rest your mind. We will begin the recalibration together. Stay in the silence. Subscribe to Psychology of Us. We are just beginning.
But the grid is persistent. It doesn't just want your time, it wants your neural real estate. We are the first generation in history to be on call for the entire world every waking second. Your phone is not a tool, it is a portal that allows the entire planet to bypass your front door. There is no more away, there is only online or ignoring, and both carry a heavy cognitive tax. Your brain was designed for the finite, for a small village, a local crisis, and a singular focus. Now it is forced to process the collective trauma and demands of 8 billion strangers simultaneously. This is the attention economy, where your peace of mind is the raw material being harvested. Every scroll, every click, every refresh is a microdose of adrenaline that keeps you in a state of high alert. You aren't just tired, you are hypervigilant, waiting for a notification that never brings relief. This constant state of ready has eroded your dorsal vagal threshold, pushing you into a functional freeze. You find yourself staring at a screen for hours, not because you are interested, but because you are stuck. Your nervous system has unplugged from the real to survive the overwhelming digital. This is the digital disassociation, a silent survival mechanism for the modern bridge dweller. You feel guilty for your lack of productivity, but your brain is actually performing a miracle. It is trying to protect the core of you by shutting down the pathways that are being attacked. The exhaustion you feel is the sound of your body's emergency brakes being applied. But when the brakes stay on for too long, we lose our ability to connect, to create, and to feel. we become efficient shadows of our former selves, moving through tasks without the presence of the past. You are tired because you are fighting a war with an enemy that has no body and never sleeps. The algorithm doesn't care if you are tired, it only cares if you are still looking. It is a parasitic relationship between the silicone and the soul, and you are the host. To break the cycle, you must first acknowledge the cost of your constant availability. Every yes to the digital noise is a no to the quiet growth of your inner world. The chronological exhaustion you carry is the proof that you are meant for something deeper. You are meant for a world that has a rhythm, a world where the sun and the moon dictate the pace, not a world where a push notification dictates your heart rate. It is time to reclaim the interval, the holy space between the action and the reaction. Take a breath. We are stepping out of the grid and back into the sanctuary. The recalibration is not an act of willpower, it is an act of return. Recalibration is not about fixing your brain. It is about reclaiming your biological pace. The first step is to recognize the digital ghost that follows you, even when the screen is off. You must learn to build firewalls of silence around the first and last hours of your day. These are your non-negotiable intervals, the holy ground where the algorithm is not invited. When you feel the friction of chronological exhaustion, do not reach for more data. Reach for something with gravity, something that exists independent of a power source. Touch the bark of a tree, feel the coldness of a stone, or the dry texture of an old book. These physical sensations are the update your nervous system actually needs to feel safe. You are retraining your brain to realize that the real is still here, and it is still solid. The digital world is a guest in your life. Do not let it become the landlord of your soul. You are the guardian of the analog baseline. Your exhaustion is your compass pointing you home. Trust the fatigue. It is telling you that you were made for depth, for ritual, and for presence. You are not a stranger in this timeline. You are its most important witness. The bridge is stable now. You have anchored both ends in the truth of your own experience. Go now. Touch something real. Breathe in the silence. The sanctuary is always within you. Subscribe to protect your inner sanctuary. Together, we recalibrate. Psychology of Us. Reclaiming the human scale.